Hey everybody, it's Ad the Red and welcome back to Highway Blossoms. Right then, last we left off, we had a very sentimental and also kind of cute little moment between Amber and Marina as they sat around a fire and just talked. It was necessary. It was good. Not everything needs to be hectic. Sometimes the best moments are when things quiet down and the characters can just be themselves. I thought it was an excellent little scene. Anyway, moving on. The engine dies. I can still hear the power buzzing before it surges down, leaving us with the ambient of the settling motorhome. We're here. Not a lot of cars here, huh? So I'm just making sure it's still recording. I'm paranoid. Guess the rest of the world just isn't caught up yet. That won't last for long. Any day now, people will figure out it's here, and an army of would-be treasure hunters will be swarming this place, drooling at the chance to find gold. The last of the gold. There's a fluttering in my chest, and I tighten my grip on the wheel. It's the end of our adventure. I bet our names have spread across the land and struck fear into the hearts of our rivals, giving them no other choice but to call it quits. Yeah, or maybe someone already came through and found the treasure. What? Don't say something scary like that. That's your rism. That's rismism. That's your realism spilling into your No, other way around. That's your pessimism spilling into your realism. Don't get them confused. Still wrapped around the wheel, my clammy hand starts shaking. Marina takes notice, looking over with sympathetic eyes. Hey. She takes her hand and gently places it on top of mine, giving it a reassuring squeeze. I let both fall into my lap. She's warm. We're doing this together, okay? Bit my tongue. Almost. The flutters tickle the inside of my chest until I can't stop smiling. Right. Let's do it. Ah, it's a spirit. Regretfully, I force out a nod and pull my hand out from Marina's. It feels wrong, like throwing away a precious gift. Reaching into the console, I retrieve the journal for what may be the last time. I hope it is, because if I have to do this fucking accent more often than I don't want to do it at all, so I guess the more I have to do this stupid accent that I forced myself into doing every time I read these passages, the more I die inside. It's well loved, a bent spine, wrinkled pages, and folded corners on the flimsy paper cover. Looking back, it's been getting roughed up since the moment we got it. Ever since that weird station attendant Marina had it for free way back in the traveler store. Hard to believe this cheap thing was the roadmap to something so valuable. Taking a deep breath, I skim over the final entry. I should skim it. After several days of travel, I believe I have finally arrived at my first destination. Don't slip into a Christopher Walken impression, that would be bad. It is well known that I have an astute eye for locations. After all, this is how I found my precious bounty, so it is no mistake that I easily found the perfect hiding place within this valley. I arrived on horseback at the blistering peak of noon. Looking for shelter from the coming night, I began noticing something different, something distinct. Crimson, all of it. Shades lighter than pink and darker than blood. The colors stained it all. From giant unmovable stone to the tiniest grains of sand, it was as if the land had absorbed the sun's heat and reflected it outwards. Even at sunset, the cave I had settled in emanated a bright red glow that speckled out from its opening. That night, as I laid on the ground, watching the flames of my fire shoot up to the cave's roof, I wondered if there were more places like this out on the unsettled land. During my travels on the trail, I was too preoccupied with preparations to observe the world around me. But now that I had achieved success, maybe I shall. It will be a shame if my superb observational skills went to waste. Surely. Windstone Arch. It's probably the vaguest entry so far, but I can feel it. It has to be there. I slapped the journal shut and laid it to rest in the center console, right next to all the cassette tapes. Marina and I look at each other now sharing the same piercing determination. Alright. Let's get the show on the road. Transition! Also riveting swigs of water. Totally water. Because of the lack of crowds, getting around is a lot easier than usual, allowing us to take in the scenery for once, instead of slogging through zombified hordes. Even though there's not many people around, it somehow feels fuller here. That's nature, swaddling you in its glory. Everywhere we walk, we're surrounded by layered dunes and sandstones towering over us, striped with faded reds and calico browns. Somehow we do eventually manage to find Windstone Arch. Unlike the arches back in Utah, it isn't big and majestic. It's not a giant upside-down horseshoe that lords over us as we look on in awe. It's not even an arch as much as it's a cave, really. Just a jagged, overgrown rock with a few crevices big enough for a person to enter. Still, despite the fact that it doesn't compare to the size or grandeur of everything else we've seen so far, and despite that it hardly took us any time at all to find it, it's still imposing. The longer I stare at it, the bigger it gets, like it's judging us. It isn't calling into question our abilities or even if we can find it. It's gauging us to see if we're ready. Are we? I've probably mentioned it a dozen times. This game is fantastically well written. Just wonderfully. Major props to the writer or writers, I don't remember what the credits said, of this game, seriously. I look over to Marina. A small bulge forms in her throat before she swallows it back down. Is she? I return my gaze to the arch, asking the same questions over and over in my head. Am I? Finally, we look to each other. Marina readies the metal detector strapped to her back and gives me a nod, which I return. Even if we aren't ready, even if this is the worst mistake of my life, this is something both of us have to do. Our steps in sync, we march over the rocks and desert shrubs before crouching into the cavern. Sunlight squeezes into the cave, dyeing the rock columns neon red. Marina begins scanning with the metal detector, listening intently for a beep. The narrow space forces us to huddle together as we heave our way through the arch, repeatedly brushing against each other. At first, it's accidental, but I find myself craving it more. To get closer, to feel her, to watch as her hair absorbs the brilliant glow of the cave. I'm deprived of all that, though, as her metal detector vibrates in her hand, making a low rumble. She takes off the headphones and points to the wall. There! I avert my gaze and move past her, taking a knee as I slip the bag off my shoulder and pull out the mandrel pickaxe. Careful not to hit her, I start chiseling away at the rock. Soon the crack in the wall grows, and small pebbles and gravel start flying off. I reposition myself and block Marina from getting hit by any of it. The small portion of the wall crumbles away, and after a few more strikes, reveals a hollow space just big enough to squeeze your hand into. This is gonna suck if some creepy thing's gone and made its home in there. Shuddering, I reach into the space, and I feel something square and wooden. With some budging, it comes free and easily slides out. A box. Its familiarity is expected, but it doesn't stop my heart from leaping any less, nor Marina's, who squeaks out a gasp and actually hopped. Ready? This time she barely nods, unsure of what to say, but like ripping off a bandage, I swing the lid open before she can give any real answer. Nuggets. A pile of them, filled from top to bottom, all misshapen and morphed. The sight isn't anything new, but this time it feels different. It's like for the first time the reality has finally sunk in and everything up until now has been a haze. We both just stare at it. An entire universe of thoughts race through my mind, yet it all comes up blank. What now? It's directed more towards myself than Marina, but it's the first thing I manage to spit out, and ultimately the most important. Marina doesn't answer at first, instead just tilting her head, trying to process the question. But finally, she gives a simple smile. I saw a sign for a trail on the way over here. Why don't we go hiking? Hiking? I freeze for a second, then laugh under my breath. The more I think about the simplicity behind her words, the more I laugh, until I border on sounding like a hysterical madman. Hiking. For real. I keep laughing, struggling to keep it together, even after I start having trouble breathing. Poor Marina isn't on the joke, though, and within a matter of seconds her face goes from confusion to concern, then pouting. I don't know why you're laughing. I was being serious, you know. Settling down, I wipe a fake tear from my eye, an occasional chuckle still managing to break through. No, I know you were. And that's what matters. What's so funny? Nothing, just... I finally regain composure, complete composure, and smile at her. Yeah, sure. Let's go hiking. That sounds nice. Can you please keep to the signs? I will. Stop being such a worrywart. Marina skips through the sand, gleefully oblivious that her trail is a badly marked patch of dirt over the plains of the Mojave. You're going to attract raiders. Halfway into saying bandits, I switched to raiders. That's what you said last time. If you're not careful, we're going to get lost. Again. Oh, you didn't like those old cabins we found? It gets old after the second time, Mare. It kills daylight, too. The sun has faded to orange and will soon sink out of view. There's no way we're getting back before dark. But hey, maybe that's not such a bad thing. We've already found the treasure, so spending some time with Marina is a nice reward. So about this firewave thing. What the... And yes, I know it's not an ocean of lava, smarty pants. Damn, I must be running out of material. I mean, it's so cool. Hot, I guess, but what is it? What's the firewave? It's a windy thing that winds around rocks and stuff and looks like fire. At least I think that's what it was. Oh. A devilish grin slinks onto Marina's face, and she attaches herself to me like Velcro, nudging my shoulders. You don't know what it is either, do you? What? Do so. Her grin grows until I force myself to look away. She's not going to get the satisfaction. I've seen pictures. Oh, you've seen pictures? What sort of pictures? You know, the picture-y kind. Okay. I can just feel her reveling in this. I'm doing some reveling myself. For the first time, she's got me playing right into her hands. Oh, shut up. I feel a slap against my wrist, then a tug. Looking down, I see Marina's bright dimples shining through her round cheeks. Why don't we find out together? I'm stunned. It's a position we've been in before, but it's supposed to be the other way around. I'm always pulling her. That's my job. But now it's her smooth fingers locked around my wrists, her fingernails grazing above my skin. The realization doesn't even have time to sink in before she propels herself forward with me in tow. Hey, wait, hold on! I kick up sand and grit as I'm practically dragged along by Marina, who meets my yelps of silence. Then she halts as quickly as she took off, leaving me to shoot forward and stumble to a stop. You could have at least warned me before you... Oh, hello. And it's slowly zooming in. It's a nice shot though, I like that. Very pretty. I go silent. Marina does too. The fire wave. Swirling ribbons of red wrap around the hillside and stretch out to the horizon. The setting sun casts light and shadow across the ground and sky, shading it all with intense golds, pinks, and purples. As the sky dims, a shred of stray light passes over the shade and shines directly on us. Directly on Marina. She stares on, silent. I can feel every glint of emotion coming from her. Every breath taken away. Every raw feeling that builds up inside her, only to be choked back down. All of it. I glance between her and the scene stretched out before us. The pockets of sky with their deep, vivid colors are beautiful, but the choice is easy. I fixate on Marina. Her clear, sweet blue eyes, her cute round cheeks, her lips as they quiver ever so slightly. Laying a hand on her shoulder, I turn her towards me and softly touch her cheek. Her mouth slips open with a faint gasp, but all it takes is a gentle stroke of her face for that uncertainty to be wiped away. Marina holds my gaze. My eyes relax and I step closer so I can feel the warmth of her body against mine. Then, I lean in and press my lips to hers. If this turns out to be like some kind of really, really disappointing imaginary sequence going on in her head about what she's wishing she's doing, I'm going to have to hit something. So soft. I keep myself pressed against her, letting my lips move with the natural flow. But she doesn't press back. Afraid, I pull away, but before I can step back, she pulls me closer and lets her lips melt into mine. I let the pattern take control. Our mouths move inside each other, full of tender caution as we ease in. We repeat the process infinitely. Bathed in the light of sunset, the two of us exchange something. I eventually pull back, unsure of what to say and scared of what I could. We turn back to find the last rays of sunlight slipping behind the sand. Something brushes against my hand, tickling for a moment before intertwining between my fingers. Her grip is loose, but I wrap my fingers around so that I'm holding her firmly. We watch the last of the light drift into a peaceful evening, together. It's pretty. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Okay. Well, that's a perfect place to end this episode. I was wondering if it was going to keep going or not, but I guess it is. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. That was extremely well done. Very good payoff, and it looks like from that it's going to have even better payoff of some description. Anyway, like I said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next episode.